An album a day is my exploration into the Korean music scene. This podcast will cover mainstream, indie, and some underground artists within the scene and provide both factual and opinionated commentary. The biggest benefit to sharing my thoughts this way is that it will hopefully expose you to more great music and exploration of your own.
It's 2015 in the K-pop world of 4Minute, and we finally reached the album that I was definitely ready to tell you all about. Has it lived up to the hype that I've been, leading you down the path to believe? We'll talk about it after the drop.
You're tuned into an album a day. Show, start.
Apologies for the depth of sound. I sound like I'm right up on you, but it's not a good acoustic setting. But work with me if you will. So 2015, the year you have heard me speak about at various intervals. What are we saying? It is late. It's late, and that's all there is to it. 2015 has been this big deal year that I continuously talk about, both on the podcast and off, about it being my favorite year in the K-pop music scene. And for 4Minute, Cube had let everyone know January 26th of this year that the ladies would do a pre-release of a track from their next mini album, and it would be called Cold Rain. So the mini album, aka EP, Cold Rain, was the first time ever in their history that they decided they were going to have the first single be a ballad. Now, they've done a whole bunch of singles, they've done a whole bunch of albums, but it's never been led off with a ballad. Cold Rain definitely was one. Not a super strong one, but engaging nonetheless, like you didn't feel miserable listening to it. Then in February 9th, they went ahead and released the next single, which is also the title of the album, Crazy. Bad song. The song is everything. The music video for Crazy had such a huge impact that it hit 100 million views on YouTube by November 5th of 2017. It was just racking up views. It was the sixth time that a girl group reached 100 million views. And it was the first time a girl group from neither of the big three, SM, YG, and JYP. It was the first time ever that a girl group who wasn't from the big three reached that milestone. That video is so good, and the song is good. I talk about it so often. It's a definite favorite. The lyrics, Hyuna helped with some of that, and this is the first time that I can recall by looking at track listings that members of the group definitely had some input. Well, you're looking at a 20-minute album, give or take a couple seconds, perhaps. And it's definitely R&B, definitely pop. You have a total of 6 tracks. Crazy being the very first one, and it drops into Cut It Out, Tickle, 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 Stand Out, Show Me, and then ends with Cold Rain. So it's interesting that the album goes in the flip-flop of their single release order. They close it out with the single Cold Rain, and they started with the single Crazy. But how does it feel? Is it a bop? Is it a Papa Diddy bop? Is it bigger than 4Minute World was in terms of cohesiveness and all of that? Dare I say that these two albums were neck and neck? Their 2014 album was stellar, and the 2015 one built upon that. It's more recent, so there's a lot of the production qualities of it that I personally enjoy. So, of course, I'm going to play that one a little bit more. But they're not too far off, the two of them. It's very interesting. However, the ladies got hit with some controversy again. And quite frankly, at this point, they did really good with 4Minute World and just not pissing anybody off. 4Minute World and Name is 4Minute. So 2013 and 2014 were pretty much the last times that somebody wasn't mad at them for being females, for being ladies. Well, they got themselves into a little bit of a mess with the track Cut It Out, which is dope. But they banned it, they being KBS. I'm sorry, I wasn't specific. KBS's music review results was like, nah, cut. Like, didn't we start y'all career off with this? Having to talk to y'all and pop y'all on your hands about choreography and things of that sort, or lyrics. Well, this one got bumped out because of some slang. So when they did a performance of it, they just changed the lyrics to that particular area. What the slang was that got knocked out, I've no idea. I'm inclined to believe that it was the word swagger. And because they have to articulate it a certain way, it has the possibility of being wrong. I'm not 100% certain, and I'm quite honestly more than likely incorrect, because why would they be bent out of shape about the word swagger? I don't think that would be big enough of an issue. So let's go into it a little bit. We're going to pull up an article from a website I absolutely hate because Wikipedia has it sourced. Not going to say the name, just going to go through it and see if somewhere on the website it goes out to another article from a place that I would respect. Not even would, do respect. I have nothing for this. Let's see. What could be the issue here that something was implied to be vulgar in the song? It doesn't say, and I don't know. And I'm not going to look for it because I just went on a stain of a website that I don't understand. Well, I do understand. I know exactly how it still has a following. It's because people are messy and they enjoy mess. So, in terms of charts, this hit number 1 on the Billboard World Albums chart. Rightfully so, dagnabbit. It should have. It was its peak position. I ain't going to even lie. It was a lot of, but there were a lot of things that came out that year. And I just want to do a quick reference check to see when Red Velvet dropped their album in 2015. One of their most iconic ones, if I do so say myself, if I do say so. Because, like, if that came out when I think it did, then that would explain why this was able to go ahead and grab number 1. Because I'm going to be hurt if this one didn't get number 1 on its own as well. I'm looking for The Red by Red Velvet, by the way. It came out September 9th of 2015. Give me a second, y'all. I gotta just do a little bit of quick referencing, because I know that bad boy hit number 1. I know it hit number 1. Okay, yeah, all right. Okay, so that hit number 1 in the fall. I just didn't feel like this song was dropped in the fall, but whatever. The Red slaps, but it's a long time before we get to Red Velvet, y'all. And yeah, it sucks. Yet again, another girl group is being referenced during 4-minute stuff, but they fell within the trajectory of so many other quality female groups that it's hard to talk about them compared to the other ones without bringing up the other ones. Yeah, there was no one who could potentially have been in the way. That was perfect timing to be able to release the album at the time that they did and be able to get the number 1 that they did, because AOA released Ace of Angels that year. But no, they deserved it. They definitely needed the number 1 on the charts. They peaked at number 2 on the Gaon Weekly and number 4 at the Gaon Monthly album chart. At the time of this recording, it is noted on their English Wikipedia page that they sold over 26,233 copies of this particular album. It's a matter of quality production. The album feels warm from start to finish. There's not any openness that just feels off canter. They front load you with some jams, and then it tapers off very well to make sense to have Cold Rain as the close. It's just well put together. It really is. And the time that it was released, being released in February, this winter album with this super conceited track of Crazy Like, what? Like, we got Cold Rain in January, and then you came back a few days later with this black and white video that just slaps, with this song that just unnecessarily slaps. Let me get into the production. Okay, so you've got a lot of qualities of R&B throughout the album. The pop songs have a lot of hip-hop influence. Cut It Out, the so-called controversial one. Lyrics were written by Misfit. You have So Jae Woo and Im Kwang Wook, who was on the actual music as well as contributed to parts of the arrangement. Big Sancho, he played a part in some of the tracks as well. That's a name that might be familiar to some of you, perhaps, hopefully. There's also was a contribution from a Swedish singer and songwriter. Her name is Alice Wilder, and she had a hand in helping them put together the song Tickle, 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 which I really like that song. The lyrics are age apropos for these ladies. Like, we're coming up in a time within their history where things were starting to change a lot for them. A heck of a lot for them. 4Minute was, still active, obviously, but we're just a breath away from contract negotiations falling through. And Hyuna didn't need them. Hyuna didn't need them to begin with, but she especially didn't need them around this time. So you got some things that are developing that are looking a little prickly and a little concerning, but for us as fans, we didn't have a clue. We just knew they were doing well. We were excited. They had charted in had a concert in Myanmar. I was about to say charted. Had a concert. Things seemed to have been going very well, but in a matter of months, less than a year from all of this, things just got really, really strange. And we didn't know how strange it was until everything was just up in the air and happening before our eyes. But we're not there yet. We have just one more album to go before we get into dismantling some of those aspects and then getting closer to, obviously, final thoughts where I can just have at it and let the rambling go. Because this was pretty bad right here. Let's get into the ranking. K-pop fans, on a scale of 1 to 5, with 5 being essential listening and 1 not worth mentioning, the A3-Day ranking of this album is a 5. And quite honestly, of its entire discography thus far, until we listen to Act 7, I think this is the only album that can go toe-to-toe with the one that came before it. I think these two are the defining sounds of how 4Minute will be ultimately remembered beyond that debut album. So, I don't know. There's some solid pushing that happened right before it all came undone. I'm interested in what's going to happen with Act 7. The only song that I know from it is Hate, and that's because I'm a psycho fan of Skrillex, and he had something to do with that album. So we'll talk about that in the next episode. I will catch you in the next episode as well. And, man, this seems like it just went by so fast. Anything compared to what we went through before we got to 4Minute. Whole season dedicated to one group, basically. Okay, let me let that go. Bye, y'all.
Your favorite foreign Korean music historian exploring all the industry from A to Z. There's sponsored ads and social media hashtags, but this show is truly supported by the efforts of my Migualas, the most amazing fan base a little entertainer could ever have. Special shout out to my Patreon patrons, the student body, and the scholars who keep my vision of becoming your favorite Korean music historian exploring all the industry from A to Z a real thing. If you're interested in supporting the growth of this podcast and supporting content, please visit patreon.com/multifacetedACG. And for as little as $1 a month, you can get in on the magic too. Interested in continuing your support at the free $99 price? I love you for it. You can still engage with the show when you retweet, repost, and share the show and use hashtag A3 and the word DAY. You can also tag MULTIFACETEDACG to get my attention. And if you're listening to this podcast on a platform other than Anchor.fm, please leave a few stars or a review to keep things growing in the right direction.